last one. They keep getting smaller and smaller. Oh, I think I'm over here. That's the problem. All right. The last one I'm going to call no lasting L. This is the one that I'm the least comfortable with, but it is a philosophy held by several people in our church. And so I will bring it up here just so that you know what's going on. And we have a book, because we always have a book. And I have copies of this one. The 1524 group actually did this last year, looked at it, called Love Wins. And that gives this kind of, this philosophy. He talks about how he thinks that God is too powerful and why would he ever want to send anybody to hell? And therefore, his love will overcome all boundaries and everybody will end up in heaven. And the problems that I see with this particular philosophy is it requires reworking lots of words in the Bible, like eternity. It doesn't mean eternity, it means like fierce, sudden moments. And, hellfire doesn't mean like, fire, it just means intense discomfort as you become fitted for heaven. Essentially what he says is that if you were bound to hell, you would be in heaven, but you'd be kind of locked in your own place until you come over to God's way of thinking. So if we were at a banquet table, and we would all be invited to the banquet table, and you would sit there, and if you were, say, for instance, somebody who was very prejudiced, the people that you were prejudiced against would be sitting at the table with you, and you would not be able to, because God is in control here, you would not be able to say racist comments, or malign them, or do nasty things at the table, or even look at them funny. And so being unable to do those things would be like your own personal torture. Until you got to the point where you'd say, oh, God is right. He is created, she is created the same way that I am. We're all in God's image. I will love him, her, whatever. And then you would work your way out of that hell by coming over to God's way of thinking. Questions? That's weird.
What if you don't have, what would be another example other than prejudice? Not a lot of people are prejudiced anymore.
I think there are a lot of people that are prejudiced. We're not surrounded by it here, but I think that there are a lot of people that are prejudiced still. What would be another example? I have the great desire to murder people, and I am not able to. I must search for different kinds of entertainment, and it's killing me.
How it's killing you.
I don't know. That's the one that he gives. Yes, Eric.
So what if you're like a really good person, but you're surrounded by prejudiced people, and they're saying really like racist stuff or something, and then you
they
can't.
Wouldn't be able to.
But this is just like an example.
Uh-huh.
You're a good person, but you did something wrong, or you were like atheist or whatever.
Okay.
And then people were surrounded by you, and they were like, making all these racist comments or whatever, and you couldn't do anything about it. Like,
but why were they able to do those things in the first place?
It's just to mess with you.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not allowed to mess with each other.
They're not real people. They're just like.
But this is heaven. There's no messing with each other.
Well, I know,
but
God is like God is punishing you.
Okay.
So he makes like people you don't realize that they're not real, but they're like,
Yeah.
they're like spirit.
See, I don't think that the idea is punishment. I think the idea is getting you beyond that and fitting you for heaven. Is I think the idea. So it's not I'm going to do this just to bug you, but we want to burn away. The concept of all the hellfire has to do with burning away the bad parts. Okay, so another example would be an atheist. So if you're an atheist in heaven,
Did you talk to angels?
you would have to come to the point where you agreed that God existed, even though he's right in front of you, And you would have to agree to his will being done. And after having lived a lifetime of fighting against that, that would probably be the painful torment thing.
Well, what if you're like a Buddhist, and you were like a good Buddhist, and you were like you followed that religion really well and stuff, and really strongly? Would you just like, would that be the same thing as a
Yeah,
non-believer?
I think it would be the same thing as a non-believer. Okay, Eric,
So if you're Jewish, do you get into heaven?
that is such a good question.
Yeah, because they're the chosen people.
Except that Jesus even told the Jews of his time that they were not sons of Abraham because of how they were acting, that the Gentiles were more God's children
Well, then it'd be the same.
than they were.
If they're Jewish and they still believe in God and everything, it's just.
I think it has to do with the same thing. Are you trusting in God or are you just believing in God?
Yeah.
And that's a big, big difference, a big marker. Somewhere I have the reference, and I know it wasn't in my lesson stuff for today, but it's in like 1 Peter or something, where he says, so you believe in God. Great. Even the demons believe in God, and they shudder. So it's not a belief in God that saves you. You can believe that God exists and still not be saved.